Don't tell the neighbors you're my father. Just say you're an old family friend from California. Anna's whisper cut through the warm June evening like a blade finding its mark. I stood beside my beaten Ford pickup, one hand still gripping the door handle, the other frozen halfway to my duffel bag. 3 days of driving across the country through Nevada's endless desert and Pennsylvania's rolling hills, and this was my welcome. The golden hour light painted everything beautiful. The manicured lawns, the pristine driveways, the expensive cars that made my truck look like a relic. But Anna's words turned that beauty cold. "All right, Anna," my voice came out flat, emotionless. 40 years of raising her, of working double shifts and selling my tools to fund her dreams. And I was now a family friend. The lie sat in my throat like broken glass. She positioned herself between me and the neighbor's yard, her designer dress catching the evening breeze. "Beautiful weather for traveling." The neighbor approached with genuine warmth, wiping grass stains from his hands. His lawnmower sat silent behind him, another symbol of suburban perfection. I forced my weathered face into something resembling a smile. "Yes, long drive from the West Coast." The words felt foreign in my mouth. The neighbor nodded enthusiastically, launching into small talk about California weather, while I stood there like an actor who'd forgotten his lines. Anna's relief was palpable when the conversation ended. I grabbed my duffel bag, worn canvas that had traveled with me through 20 years of construction jobs, and slung it over my shoulder. The neighbor waved goodbye, returning to his perfect lawn. Anna turned toward the house, her heels clicking against the pristine driveway. "Come on, let's get you inside." I followed her up the walkway, past flower beds that looked like magazine spreads. Every step took me further from the man who'd driven 3,000 miles to see his daughter, and closer to whatever stranger I was supposed to be. If you're watching this video, tell me where you're from or what time it is for you. Anna pushed open the front door, and I stepped into what felt like a museum exhibit titled, "How the Other Half Lives." Cool air conditioning hit my face, carrying the artificial scent of vanilla candles instead of home cooking. The living room stretched before us like a showroom floor, everything coordinated, expensive, and cold. "Richard's in his office finishing up some calls," Anna said, her voice artificially bright. "Let me show you around." I followed her through rooms that belonged in a design magazine. My work boots felt too loud against the hardwood floors, each step announcing my intrusion into this pristine world. Framed photographs lined the mantel and hallway. Richard's family skiing in Aspen. Romantic shots from European vacations. The kids at private school graduations. Not a single picture included me. "Lots of memories on these walls," I said, my voice carefully neutral. Anna's step faltered slightly. "That's from our Tuscany trip last year. Richard knows all the best restaurants there." In the kitchen, marble countertops gleamed under pendant lights that probably cost more than my monthly pension. Anna quickly moved a familiar cookie container, my homemade oatmeal chocolate chip, from the counter to a cabinet. Even my gifts were being hidden. "We're on keto now," she explained without meeting my eyes. "But the kids might try your cookies." Richard appeared as if summoned, phone still pressed to his ear. He held up one finger, the universal signal for "important people must wait," while finishing his conversation. When he finally hung up, his smile was perfectly practiced. "We're glad to have you here, John. Anne's told me so much about you." His handshake was firm, calculated to demonstrate confidence without seeming aggressive. "Beautiful house?" I said, running my hand along the marble island. Solid foundation. Something flickered in Richard's eyes. He knew, of course, how they'd afforded the down payment, but acknowledging my contribution would complicate their narrative. Anna has excellent taste, he replied smoothly, deflecting credit away from uncomfortable truths. The dining room chandelier cast sharp shadows across crystal glasses and china plates arranged with military precision. I took my assigned seat at the table's end, physically separated from the family cluster at the other side. The symbolism wasn't lost on me. Richard commanded the head of the table like a corporate boardroom, carving expensive steak with surgical precision. Anna positioned herself as the perfect supporting actress, serving and smoothing conversations like a professional hostess. The teenage kids barely looked up from their phones. Only my 2-year-old grandson offered genuine warmth, reaching toward me from his high chair with chubby fingers and an unguarded smile. "Got promoted to senior partner last month," Richard announced. "Now we can afford even more of life's luxuries." Anna beamed at him with practiced adoration. "Yesterday we attended Jessica's charity gala. Such fascinating people. A Manhattan surgeon and an IT company CEO. She rattled off credentials like trading cards. I had a good year too," I offered during a brief lull. "Finished the Miller House renovation. Complete foundation rebuild, custom cabinets throughout." The words landed like stones in still water, creating ripples of uncomfortable silence. Anna's fork paused halfway to her mouth. Richard's attention immediately shifted to his wine glass. "Richard, tell us about that corporate merger case," Anna said quickly, steering the conversation back to safer territory. And like that, my contribution was erased. Richard launched into a detailed explanation of legal strategies, while the baby gurgled and reached for my face again. At least someone at this table recognized family when he saw it. When dinner finally ended, the family dispersed like actors leaving the stage. Richard disappeared to his home office for more important calls. Anna whisked the baby upstairs. The teenagers vanished to their rooms. I was offered a choice: television in the living room or rest in the guest room. Both options meant being alone. "Guest room sounds good," I said. Anna nodded with visible relief. In a room designed to ensure no one ever truly could, I was told to make myself comfortable. Sleep wouldn't come. I lay on the pristine white bedding, staring at the ceiling, where shadows from passing cars painted brief stories of movement in a motionless room. Midnight came and went, my mind churning through Anna's nervous orchestration, Richard's casual dismissals, the children's indifference. The house settled into silence, my wallet pressed against my hip through the thin pajama fabric. It felt heavier than usual, not because of money, but because of the papers folded carefully inside. Documents I'd saved because my father taught me to always keep the important stuff close. I sat up, pulled the wallet from my pants draped over the chair. Using my phone's flashlight, its blue-white glow illuminated the first paper as I unfolded it. Property contract. My signature, bold and confident in black ink. Primary owner, John Garrett. Investment amount, $180,000. Percentage of ownership, 80%. Anna's name appeared in smaller print, 20%, based on a financial contribution of $0. Primary owner, I whispered to the empty room. My phone's camera clicked softly as I photographed each page. The second document showed the down payment source, my savings account, cleaned out. The third revealed the tool sale receipts, 40 years of Craftsman and DeWalt reduced to numbers on a bank deposit slip. The house creaked overhead. I froze until the footsteps faded, then continued my methodical documentation. By 2 in the morning, I'd created a complete digital record of my legal position. 37 photos documenting 3 years of a financial reality that dinner conversation had carefully avoided. I wasn't a family friend from California. I was the foundation this house was built on. I slid the last document back into my wallet, the phone feeling heavy in my hand. A plan was forming, a clear path forward built on the concrete facts I now held as digital evidence. I took a final, steadying breath. Creak. The sound was soft, from just outside the guest room door. My head snapped up. I shoved the phone under my pillow as the doorknob turned slowly. The door swung open, and Anna stood there, silhouetted by the hallway nightlight. "Dad, what are you doing up?" Her voice was laced with a strange tension. "Just getting a glass of water." I kept my voice even, my body rigid. My pants, with the wallet full of proof, were still draped over the chair in plain sight. Her eyes swept the room. They lingered on the chair, then on the lump under my pillow. "You're fully dressed." It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. "Are you okay? You're not planning on leaving, are you?" "No, Anna, just couldn't sleep." I stood up, moving casually between her and the bed, blocking her view of the hidden phone. "Long drive catches up with you." She didn't look convinced. She hovered in the doorway, a knot of suspicion tightening her features. "Richard and I were just worried. It's a big house, easy to get turned around." The excuse was flimsy, and we both knew it. She was checking on me. "I'm fine, just restless." I forced a small yawn. "Think I'll try to get some sleep now?" She hesitated for a moment longer, her gaze darting one last time to the pillow. "Okay. Well, good night." She pulled the door shut, leaving me in the sudden darkness. The click of the latch sounded like a cell door locking. She knew something was wrong, and I knew she would tell Richard. The next morning, the smell of coffee couldn't mask the tension in the air. Anna avoided my eyes, busying herself with the children's breakfast. Richard was waiting for me in the living room. He wasn't wearing his usual practiced smile. He held a tablet in his hand, his expression cold and professional. "John, we need to talk." I stood my ground. "About what, Richard?" "Anna told me you were up late, prowling around." He tapped the screen of the tablet. "This house has a state-of-the-art security system. Audio recording, very sensitive." My blood ran cold. "What are you getting at?" "It picked up some odd sounds from the guest room last night. A series of soft, rhythmic clicks, the kind a phone's camera makes." He looked me straight in the eye, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. "You were taking pictures, weren't you? Of documents." I didn't answer. My silence was enough. "I'm a lawyer, John. What you did could be construed as preparing for litigation under false pretenses. You entered my home as a guest. Any evidence you gathered could be thrown out. Worse, I could file a complaint. Make things very uncomfortable for you." The threat hung in the air, thick and suffocating. "Those documents are mine," I said, my voice low. "Are they?" he countered smoothly. "Or are they confidential financial records you photographed without permission? It's a gray area, a messy one. One that would cost you thousands to fight. Money I know you don't have." He let that sink in. "Show me your phone." It wasn't a request. I thought of the 37 photos, my only leverage. He held all the cards, the expensive house, the legal knowledge, the willingness to use it. Slowly, I pulled the phone from my pocket. He held out his hand. "Give it to me." I unlocked it and handed it over. He navigated to the photo gallery with practiced ease. His face was a mask of cold satisfaction as he found the folder. 37. Very thorough. He looked up at me. Delete them, all of them, while I watch. My hand trembled as I took the phone back. His eyes were locked on mine. One by one, I selected the images of my life's savings, of my sacrifice, of my ownership. With him standing over me, a predator over his cornered prey, I pressed the button. Delete 37 items? I hesitated. Do it, Richard hissed, or I'll make sure you regret it. I pressed delete. The folder vanished. My proof was gone. He smiled, a thin, cruel slash across his face. Good. Now we understand each other. Enjoy the rest of your stay, John. He turned and walked back toward the kitchen, leaving me standing there with nothing but a hollow feeling in my chest. I had the truth, but I'd lost my advantage. That evening, Anna announced we'd been invited to a neighbor's party. Wear this instead, she said, holding up one of Richard's shirts, expensive cotton with a designer label peeking from the collar. So you'll fit in better. The borrowed shirt pulled tight across my shoulders, making me move differently. In the bathroom mirror, I looked like myself wearing a costume. Anna appeared behind me, adjusting the collar. Remember, you're our friend from California. We met through mutual acquaintances. Keep it simple. Her hands shook as she fixed my collar. She was drowning in her own deceptions. The neighbor's backyard looked like a magazine spread. String lights, an outdoor kitchen, furniture arranged with professional precision. Bob, the host from my first day, greeted us while grilling steaks that probably cost $50 each. How's the real estate investment business treating you? He asked. Apparently, Anna had already established my fictional occupation. I helped with this house, I said, gesturing toward Anna's property line. Anna's cough sounded like a car engine refusing to start. John, tell them about California weather. The conversation flowed around me like water around a stone. Vacation homes in the Hamptons, private school admission strategies, wine vintages from Tuscany. People casually mentioned spending more on weekend getaways than I'd made in good months. They weren't just neighbors. They were an audience, evaluating each other's performances. I was standing by the meticulously landscaped garden trying to look like I belonged when Bob came over, leaving the grill to his wife. He handed me a craft beer. So, Richard's a tough negotiator, huh? He said, his voice low. The question caught me off guard. What makes you say that? He took a long sip of his beer. This whole development, same builder, prestige homes, sounds impressive, right? Guy was a shark. Offered everyone a $10,000 discount if they'd waive the full structural inspection. Richard jumped on it, told me it was a no-brainer. I looked from Bob to the perfect facade of Anna's house. You didn't take the deal? Bob snorted. Hell no. But now I wish I'd hired my own guy. Come spring after the ground thawed, I found this. He pointed toward the corner of his house. Hairline crack in the foundation. Nothing major, Prestige says. Settling. But I've built a few things in my time. It doesn't feel right. He looked at me, his eyes sharp with interest. Anna said you do construction consulting. That's a fancy way of saying you know how things are built, right? Foundation work, mostly, I said, the words feeling honest for the first time all night. Making sure everything stays solid underneath. I knew it, he said, slapping me lightly on the shoulder. You've got the hands for it. Not like these other guys. He gestured around the yard. Richard's been having issues too, I bet. He's just too proud to admit it. Wouldn't want a crack in his perfect world. The way he said it, with a mix of amusement and disdain, told me I wasn't the only one who saw through the performance. He saw the cracks too, literally. The next morning, while Anna and Richard were at a spin class, Bob waved me over from his yard. "Got a minute, John? I'd love a professional opinion." We walked to the side of his house. I ran my hand along the concrete, feeling the subtle spiderweb of fractures he'd pointed out. I knelt down, my years of experience taking over. I tapped the concrete, listening to the sound. I examined the grading of the soil. "He poured this slab too thin," I said finally, standing up and dusting off my hands. "And he didn't cure it properly. These aren't just settling cracks. This is a structural flaw. In a few years, after a few more freeze-thaw cycles, you're going to have water in your basement." Bob swore under his breath. I knew it. That son of a bitch. He looked at me with newfound respect. "You spotted that in 5 minutes. The inspector the builder sent over spent an hour telling me it was fine. He was paid to tell you it was fine." "And Richard's house?" Bob asked. "Built the same month, same crew." "He's got the same problem," I said with certainty. "Probably worse if he let the builder cut corners." This was it, a flaw in the perfect narrative, a real physical crack in the foundation that mirrored the emotional one. Bob looked me in the eye. "Richard's a prick. The way he and Anna treat you, it's not right. I saw it the day you arrived. You're an honest man, John. If you need anything, anything at all, you let me know. Some of us around here still value a solid foundation." He offered his hand. I shook it. It was the firm, genuine grip of an ally. That afternoon, needing to escape the oppressive perfection of the house, I slipped into the garage. Harsh light revealed Anna's organization system in full glory. Christmas decorations, seasonal clothes, everything in its place. But tucked behind the holiday storage sat a box labeled in Anna's handwriting. "Old things." I pulled the box forward. When I lifted the lid, time folded backward on itself. Photos, dozens of them. Anna at 6 with her front teeth missing, grinning beside a fish we'd caught at Silver Lake. Anna at 12, proud in her first baseball uniform. I taught her to slide into home base the summer after her mother died. Anna at 18 in her graduation cap, my arm around her shoulders, both of us crying happy tears. Beneath the photos lay treasures. The first baseball glove we'd bought together. A Father's Day card made from construction paper, where 8-year-old Anna had written, "Best Dad Ever." The acceptance letter to her college, and folded inside it, my own note of congratulations. "Never forget who stands with you through everything," my younger self's handwriting read. "Your foundation will always be solid, because you're built on love, not just dreams." "Always yours, Dad." She kept it, but hid it here. Every memory preserved, but locked away like a shameful secret. I repacked everything carefully, except for one photo. Anna and me with our fish, both grinning like we'd conquered the world. This one I slipped into my wallet. Different kind of proof, but proof nonetheless. With Richard's threats still echoing in my mind, and Bob's offer of help providing a sliver of hope, I walked to the end of the long driveway, my back to the house. I pulled out my phone and dialed the number I knew by heart. "Tom Martinez, attorney at law." "Tom, this is John Garrett." "John, good to hear from you. How are things?" "Complicated," I said, my voice low. "I'm at the house on Maple Drive, Anna's place." "Right, the Westchester property. I have your file here. You're the primary stakeholder, 80% ownership. Is there a problem?" "There is. Richard knows about the documents. He coerced me into deleting the photos I took. He's threatening legal action if I try anything. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Coerced you how? Accused me of illegal recording. Said he'd bury me in legal fees. Tom let out a long sigh. It's a bluff, John, but a nasty one. He's trying to intimidate you out of your own property. We can't let that happen. The originals are filed with the county clerk, but getting certified copies takes time. I don't have time. He's going to do something to block me. I need those documents, Tom. I need them now. My desperation was a raw nerve. Okay, John. Stay calm. I could hear him typing furiously. I have a bonded courier service I use for sensitive deliveries. I can have certified copies of the deed and the ownership agreement dispatched immediately, but I can't send them to Anna's house. Richard will intercept them. An idea sparked. Don't send them here. Send them to the neighbor, number 12 Maple Drive. The name is Bob Henderson. A neighbor? Can you trust him? Yes, I said, with a certainty that surprised me. He's a good man. He's on my side. All right, it's risky, but it's our best shot. I'll put a rush on it. They should be there by tomorrow afternoon. But John, be careful. Richard sounds like he'll do anything to maintain control. I know, I said, looking back at the perfect house that was legally mine. But so will I. The next day, Anna announced she was taking the kids grocery shopping, and Richard had a golf game with clients. The house settled into afternoon silence, giving me the privacy I needed. For the first time since arriving, I moved through the rooms not as a guest, but as a man waiting for his moment. The transformation felt profound, like finally standing upright after years of crouching. The kitchen welcomed me with expensive appliances. I opened Richard's well-stocked refrigerator and selected a prime ribeye steak, the kind of cut that costs more than I used to spend on groceries for a week. Tonight felt like an occasion worth marking. Salt and pepper. That's all good meat needs. I heated the cast-iron skillet, the one practical pan among all the designer cookware, and listened to the steak sizzle with the honest sound of real food being prepared simply. Steak, the way she loved it as a kid, I said to the empty kitchen. Before European trips and organic everything, Anna's favorite dinner had been steak and mashed potatoes. I carried my plate to the patio where Richard's outdoor furniture cost more than my first car. The steak tasted exactly as I remembered. Honest, straightforward, satisfying. Family, I said to the suburban silence. Funny how definitions change when money enters the picture. I finished dinner as the sun painted shadows across the expensive furniture. This was the foundation I'd built, the security I'd provided. She'd used it to build walls against me. But foundations, I knew, determined everything that could be built on top of them. My phone buzzed. A text from Bob. White van just pulled up. Looks like your delivery. My heart hammered against my ribs. I walked calmly out the front door and across the perfect lawn to Bob's house. The courier, a young man with a clipboard, met me on the porch. Package for Henderson, signature required. Bob opened the door. It's for my guest, he said, nodding at me. I signed the electronic pad, my hand steady. The courier handed me the stiff cardboard envelope. It felt heavy, solid. It felt like justice. Thank you, Bob, I said, turning to leave. A screech of tires split the afternoon quiet. Richard's black sedan swerved into his driveway, the engine cutting out abruptly. He must have come home early, seen the truck. He stormed towards us, his face a thundercloud of fury. What the hell is this? He shouted, pointing at the envelope in my hand. What did you have sent here? My property documents, Richard, I said calmly. You went behind my back. You're conspiring with him? He snarled at Bob. He lunged for me, trying to snatch the envelope. Give me that. I held it tight against my chest. He grabbed my arm, his fingers digging in. For a second, we were locked in a desperate struggle on the manicured lawn between our two houses. That's enough! Bob's voice was a cannon blast. He stepped directly between us, his body blocking Richard. Get off my property, Richard, and take your hands off him, now! Richard, shocked by the resistance, hesitated. This is a private family matter, Bob. Stay out of it. It stopped being private when you put your hands on my guest. On my property, Bob said, his voice dangerously low. Leave. Now. Or the next person I call will be wearing a badge. Richard stared at him, then at me, his eyes filled with venomous rage. He saw the envelope clutched in my hand, the certified proof he couldn't destroy. He saw Bob, the unexpected ally, standing firm. He had lost. He backed away slowly, his chest heaving. This isn't over, he spat, before turning and stalking back to his house. I looked at Bob, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The envelope was slightly crumpled but intact. I had the proof. Told you, Bob said with a grim smile. Some of us still value a solid foundation. An hour later, their SUV pulled into the driveway. Anna burst through the front door with energetic gratitude. Dad, thank you so much for watching the house. I stood from my chair slowly, deliberately. I wasn't the grateful guest anymore. I was the owner, waiting in his own living room. My pleasure, I said. Richard appeared behind her, hauling designer luggage. Everything go smoothly here? He asked, not looking at me. Very smoothly, I replied. I had some time to think about property management, the legal aspects of ownership and responsibility. Something in my tone made Anna pause. Richard's attention sharpened. I held up the cardboard envelope. From it, I pulled the certified copy of the property contract, its official seals gleaming in the light. I laid it on the coffee table. My signature was prominent in black ink. You asked me not to tell the neighbors I'm your father. I respected that. I tapped the document. But this house is mine, and I'm reclaiming legal control of all property decisions going forward. The words landed like physical blows. Anna's face drained of color. Richard's expression shifted through disbelief and finally to the cold calculation of someone realizing his assumptions had been fundamentally wrong. Dad, that was temporary. Anna's voice climbed an octave. You can't just... This is our home. It's my home, I corrected gently. 80% mine, according to the documents you obviously never read carefully. You live here because I provided the down payment that made it possible. Richard grabbed his phone. I'm calling my lawyer. This is harassment. Call whoever you want, Richard. I'm not taking anything that isn't mine. Just reminding everyone who the actual owner is. 2 hours passed in suffocating silence. Anna sat hunched on the expensive sofa, mascara creating dark tracks down her cheeks. The perfect hostess mask had finally slipped. Dad, please. Her voice cracked. You don't understand how people judge here. Your pickup truck, your work clothes, your hands, they see all of that and make assumptions. I understand perfectly, Anna. I gave you everything I had, and you hid me away like a shameful secret. Richard paced, his phone pressed to his ear. Each unanswered call stripped away another layer of his professional confidence. They see a working man who built something with his hands instead of his connections, I continued. You see shame. That's the real difference between us. Anna's breakdown accelerated. I didn't want to be ashamed, she sobbed. I wanted to belong somewhere that mattered. I became someone I don't recognize. Someone who could hide her own father because his truck didn't match the neighborhood aesthetic. Richard slammed his phone onto the marble counter, the sound echoing like a gavel of defeat. Every lawyer I know is either unreachable or tells me the same thing, he said, his voice hollow. Your documentation is ironclad, your legal position unassailable. What do you want from us? Richard demanded. Money? Recognition? I want my daughter back, I said simply. The one who used to be proud of where she came from. Anna collapsed against the kitchen island, her facade completely shattered. I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm so sorry. The baby's crying intensified from upstairs, pulling Anna back toward her responsibilities. I love you, she whispered without turning around. I just forgot how to show it honestly. 2 weeks in California gave me time to think. Anna called every day, her voice tight with anxiety. I didn't want revenge. I wanted to build something different. Tom Martinez leaned back in his office chair, reviewing the documents I'd had him prepare. This is unusual, John. Most people in your position would simply reclaim the property or force a sale. Most people haven't raised the daughter who betrayed them, I replied, signing the final page. This teaches something different. The trust documentation spread across his desk like blueprints for a more complex structure. An educational trust for my grandson, with the house as the primary asset. It would vest when he turned 25, with one condition, a college degree. Anna's family could continue living there, but the property would belong to someone who'd be taught to understand its true value. The boy gets everything at 25? Tom asked. If he earns it, I said. He has 23 years to learn what his mother forgot. I called Anna that afternoon, sitting on my own front porch with the sun warming wood I'd installed myself. She answered on the first ring, her voice strained. Hi, Dad. How are the legal arrangements going? Finished today, I said. Papers are signed. Everything's filed properly. Silence stretched between California and New York, filled with her fears. The house isn't going to me, Anna, I said. What do you mean? I let the words settle before delivering the final piece of the foundation I was building. It's an educational trust. Your son gets full ownership when he turns 25, provided he graduates from college. The silence this time was different. Confusion replacing dread. Dad, I don't understand, she stammered. After everything I did, why would you give Tommy the house? So he remembers where he came from, I said. So he knows that foundations matter more than facades. That character counts more than connections. Her voice broke with the sound of someone receiving unexpected grace. Thank you, Daddy. I don't deserve this kindness, but thank you. It's not kindness, Anna. It's an investment. In him. In the future. In the hope that he'll value what his grandfather built instead of hiding from it. October brought crisp mornings in the kind of clear light that makes everything look possible. I sat on my front porch, reading Anna's daily messages. The transformation in our relationship had been gradual, earned through daily conversations that slowly rebuilt trust. When I'd visited last month, she had openly introduced me to her neighbors as her father, her voice carrying pride instead of shame for the first time in years. My phone buzzed with a video of Tommy babbling seriously at a picture book, his tiny fingers tracing images of construction vehicles. 22 years and 10 months until he inherits, I said to the morning air. That night, my phone rang. Anna's voice carried the easy warmth of someone who'd finally learned to be comfortable with truth. "We're planning Christmas in California, Dad. Tommy's excited to meet his grandfather properly." Her laughter mixed with Tommy's innocent sounds, creating the kind of family music I'd thought was lost forever. After we hung up, the phone rang once more. It was Anna again, her voice bubbling with excitement. "Dad, I almost forgot. Tommy said his second word today." "What was it?" "Hammer. Clear as anything. Richard thinks it's a coincidence, but I know better." I smiled into the California night. Some inheritances begin long before legal documents take effect, passed down through blood and memory, and the persistent love that builds foundations strong enough to last for generations. If this story resonated with you, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop any comment below, even just one word. Maybe tell me where you're watching from, or what time it is right now. Sometimes one word is enough to say you were here.